What's good, everybody? So we now know that Tom Telesco is the new general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders, and now we're just waiting for the news to drop on who the next offensive coordinator is going to be. So in this video, I kind of want to just go through who we've interviewed, the names that seem to still be on the list, and who I'd like to see as the next offensive coordinator of Las Vegas Raiders. And I want to ask you guys some questions and get your feedback. So get ready for the comments section. And before I get into it, if you could please like this video, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I appreciate all the support and everything that you guys have given me over the last few months as I started this journey. So let's keep this thing rolling. And again, thank you for all the support you guys have given me. So first and foremost, as we kind of look into this, there's names on the list that we've interviewed, but also some names that have been thrown in the pot, have been rumored to possibly come in for an interview, but haven't heard much, and I'll kind of dive into those names. So first, we got Zach Robinson. He's been on the list. Shane Waldron. It was just announced that he was hired by the Bears, so he's no longer in the running for the job. Luke Getsy, the former offensive coordinator for the Bears, he's kind of in the mix. You got Cliff Kingsbury. Alex Van Pelt, I believe, is coming in this weekend for an interview, and then Mike Sullivan, which is the ex-OC over with the Steelers. So those are the kind of names right now that are thrown into the list. First and foremost, out of those names, who do you guys want? Who do you want to see as the next offensive coordinator for Las Vegas Raiders? Let me know in the comments down below. So before I break down those names and how I feel about them, the one thing that I want to say is we do have to get moving on this decision. I want to hear a name drop at least in the next couple of days. I'm making this video Friday evening. I'm going to drop it Saturday morning. I'd love to see a name drop by the end of this weekend. And there's a couple of reasons why. One, our defensive side is ready to grind. Our defensive side is set. You got AP, head coach, a defensive guy. Patrick Graham, reports are saying he's staying with us, which is great. Now, he has had 2 interviews with Seattle. They have not announced a head coach just yet. So, I think Dan Quinn is probably the front runner for the head coach over there, but they haven't dropped a name yet. So I believe Patrick Graham's going to stay with us, but until the Seahawks put a name out there, you just never know what's going to happen. Now, we've hired on and interviewed a bunch of defensive coaches, defensive position coaches, but we let go of a lot of offensive coaches. So what does that tell me? That tells me that as soon as this offensive coordinator is hired on, he's got to start doing some interviews. He's got to bring his own staff. And where I'm a little concerned is that there's been 5 head coaches announced, 5 brand new head coaches announced across the league. And once the Seahawks announce a coach, that'll be the 6th. That's a lot of offensive coaches that are going to be fighting for jobs and going in for interviews. So I got to see us move quickly. So whoever we bring on as the offensive coordinator, you got still a decent pool of coaches to pick from. So let's get this guy in quick. Now, and once we hire that offensive coordinator, he's got to hit the ground running, right? He's got to do a real deep dive in our own offensive roster, our player personnel on our side. He's got to evaluate the roster. He's got to evaluate the free agents coming up and kind of see how that matches with his own scheme. And then he's also got to basically consult and talk with Antonio Pierce, with Tom Telesco, and see how does his vision and the players that he wants to move forward with, how does it fit with the overall direction and future of this organization and roster. So there's a lot of pieces that we got to put together in a really quick time period to make this thing work. So let's get somebody in quickly. Now, let's start talking about the names that are kind of in the running for the offensive coordinator job. I've already talked about Shane Waldron, which was the prior OC for the Seattle Seahawks. He's now with the Bears, even though his name was dropped a little bit. Mike Sullivan, the OC for the Steelers, which stepped in after Matt Canada was fired. His name's been thrown in the pot. I really don't know if he's going to come in for an interview or not, but it has been reported that we requested an interview. So we'll see what happens there. Now, there was Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson was a name that a lot of people were talking about. They wanted to see him come in for an interview, but I don't think a date or time has been set for him to come in. And the one thing you have to think of is Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, just got the Falcons head coaching job. There might be a chance that Raheem Morris brings over Zach Robinson as his offensive coordinator. So look out for that tie. But as of right now, Zach Robinson doesn't have a date or time set to come in and interview, as far as I know. So let's watch out for that. Let me know what your thoughts in the comments are of Zach Robinson. Do you want us to at least bring him in for an interview, see what he has to say, see what his philosophy is, and see if he's right for the job? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, there are reports that this weekend, Alex Van Pelt, which is the Browns offensive coordinator, he's been with them since 2020. He's coming in this weekend for an interview. So, and I believe he was the Bills offensive coordinator back in 2009. So he's definitely got at least 4 years of play calling experience. In 2009, the Bills offense was not very good. Based on my memory, I don't know that for a fact, but I don't believe them to be very good back in 2009. And the Browns offense has been hit or miss. It's been up and down. So let me know your thoughts on Alex Van Pelt. And then we got Luke Getsy. Now, Luke Getsy is a tricky one, and I want to get into this. He's the former offensive coordinator for the Bears. He was part of the Packers coaching staff in the past. I believe he was the passing coordinator as well as the quarterback coach. So he worked directly with Aaron Rodgers, which obviously is good to have on his side. Now, he leaned a lot on the run game. If you look at what that backfield with the Bears looked like, they had Khalil Herbert. They drafted Roshan Johnson. When Khalil Herbert got hurt, Dante Foreman, he jumped in and did a really good job with them. So, he is kind of a run-heavy type of offensive coordinator. They did bring in DJ Moore. They had Darnell Mooney and Cole Kmet, the tight end. They had some pieces on that offense. They had some players on that offense, but it just felt like that offense could not get going. And so that's my concern with Luke Getsy. And then you look at with Justin Fields, he really wasn't able to get the best out of Justin Fields. This year, Justin Fields wasn't able to throw over or average over 200 yards passing. He averaged about 50 yards rushing. And then he really only has 1 year of play calling experience. He was with the Bears this year as their offensive coordinator, and that's been really his only experience calling plays in the National Football League. And so that's a big concern for me. Now, here's a couple things to think about. I don't know if Luke Getsy is really in the running, truly in the running, but the one thing to think about is there's a lot of talk of Justin Fields. There could be some trades happening with Justin Fields. Justin Fields could possibly come over to Las Vegas Raiders. You match him up with Luke Getsy because of the familiarity of the system. That's an option. Now, one thing, this is what I think is happening. I think that because Justin Fields could potentially be, we could trade for him. If I was a part of the Raiders coaching staff, if I was Antonio Pierce and Tom Telesco, if I knew Justin Fields was a possible option as a quarterback next year, I'd want to do as much research as possible on Justin Fields. And what's the best way to do it? Bring in his offensive coordinator. Bring him in and start asking questions. You may not consider Luke Getsy as a true candidate as an offensive coordinator, but you can bring him in and ask him questions about Justin Fields. Ask him what his opinion is. Ask whatever questions you need to dig a little bit deeper on who Justin Fields is to make a decision on whether or not do you want to trade for him. Do you think Justin Fields still has the potential to be a top-tier quarterback in this league? Ask Luke Getsy as many questions as possible and get as much information as you can to really know who Justin Fields is. That's what I think they're doing. That's what I would do if I was in their position. Get as much information as possible. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of Luke Getsy as an offensive coordinator? And here's a second question. Would you want to trade for Justin Fields? Do you think Justin Fields could still be a top-tier quarterback in this league? And would you want us to trade for him? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, lastly, Cliff Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury, he's come in already for a second interview with the Raiders. He interviewed with the Bears for their offensive coordinator job, but he didn't get it. They ended up going with Waldron, I believe. And so there's two things. There's two things that Cliff Kingsbury is known for. Number one, he's a great developer of quarterbacks. He worked with Patrick Mahomes. He worked with, obviously, Kyler Murray over at Arizona. And last year, he worked with Caleb Williams. So he's a great developer of the quarterback. I don't think anybody really questions that too much. And second, he was known for the air raid. When he was with Texas Tech, he was known for really opening up that offense, having that pass-heavy offense with Patrick Mahomes. And so that's what he's known for. But what I liked about him is he seemed to be a little more balanced when he came to the Arizona Cardinals, and I'll go into that a little bit deeper. So let's take a look at who Cliff Kingsbury is, right? He had 11 years experience at the college level, and then he was 4 years with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, with the Arizona Cardinals, he made the playoffs in 2021, which is a great feat given the fact that he was only with them for a couple of years at that point. Twice he had a top 10 offense, and mind you, that's with a rookie quarterback out of Kyler Murray. 2 times he had a top 10 rushing attack. They had that duo with James Conner and Kenyon Drake. That was a really good duo down in Arizona. And so that's why I think when he came to the National Football League, I think he knew, yes, I can open things up. I can continue to pass that football. But he knew he had to be balanced. And that's when they traded over. I believe they traded or they signed for James Conner, got him away from the Steelers. I think that was a great acquisition by him, and that developed that top 10 running game for 2 years when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. So I like to see that balance. And then 3 out of the 4 years that he was there, he was in the top half of red zone efficiency on the offensive side. So his red zone offense is also has been shown to be successful in the National Football League. Now, in addition to all that, he has shown he can score points in the National Football League. Out of the 4 years, 2 of those years, I don't count the first year, which was in 2019, first year, rookie quarterback, he only averaged about 22 points that year. But again, first year head coach, rookie quarterback. In 2020, he averaged 25 points a game. In 2021, he averaged 26 points a game. And in that last year, Kyler Murray kind of had those injuries going on. He only averaged, I think it was around 22 points. But again, Kyler Murray was injured, so he struggled a little bit. So that kind of breaks down Cliff Kingsbury a little bit. Now, I think Cliff Kingsbury is our best option. Through all the coaches that we have interviewed so far, all the candidates that we have sitting on the table, I think Cliff Kingsbury is the best option for us, for the Raiders organization. And here's why. Number one, he's an ex-player. He played in the league for 5 years. What AP is showing us is that he's trying to bring in ex-players, which is great. And Cliff Kingsbury kind of fits that bill. Number two is he's got 9 years of play calling experience, not only in the college level, but he's got 4 years of NFL offensive play calling with the Arizona Cardinals. That's huge. And then he's a proven developer as a quarterback. When you had Kyler Murray, Kyler Murray was the rookie offensive player of the year, and he took Kyler Murray to 2 Pro Bowls. So he developed a rookie quarterback in this league that's proven, and that's going to be the situation we're most likely going to be in this upcoming year. So that's huge. And then wherever he goes, he turns these offenses around quickly. When he took over the Arizona Cardinals offense, they were averaging 14 points a game, and they were the worst offense in the league. And he took them to a top 10 offense. So he can develop offenses quickly. And because he does that, I believe what he does is when he takes over a job, he evaluates the current roster and can he turn that roster around quickly with the talent it currently has. And now we have a lot of offensive talent. We have a really good offensive line. We have a good receiver core. Zamir White proved that he could do a good job in that backfield. We should probably bring in someone else for competition. But all we really need is a quarterback to get this thing going. So I think he's going to, if he does take this job, I think he's going to have confidence he can turn this thing around pretty quickly. And then one of the things that Antonio Pierce said in his press conference is that he wants, I don't think he said this directly, but I think it is proven, he wants a high-powered offense. He wants an offense to be able to put points on the board. He did state he wants 24 points. He wants an offense that could put 24 points up on that board. Well, 2 years out of the 4 in Arizona, Cliff Kingsbury averaged 25 and 26 points. Antonio Pierce, there you have it. And Cliff Kingsbury has proven he can do it. And so What I'm going to end with this is why Cliff Kingsbury, in my opinion, is the guy for the job. Number one, he's got the most offensive play calling experience of all the candidates. He can develop quarterbacks. He has experience as a head coach in the NFL. I think that's going to be huge because he can help Antonio Pierce with his inexperience of being a head coach, and he can help with the role and development of Antonio Pierce as a head coach. So bringing in that experience with Cliff Kingsbury, he could really get on the ground running quickly, hit that ground running as the offensive coordinator, start putting his staff together, and Antonio Pierce can really focus on just being the head coach. And Cliff Kingsbury can also help him, give him advice in this journey of learning on how to be a head coach in the National Football League. So at the end of the day, let me know, guys. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Cliff Kingsbury? Do you want him as the offensive coordinator? Do you not? Let me know your opinions and get at me on them. I definitely appreciate all you guys' feedback. So that's my take, guys. I hope we see or hear an announcement very soon. I think we have to hear one quickly for some of the points that I just mentioned earlier in this video. So again, guys, if you could, please like this video, subscribe, turn on those notifications. I appreciate all my subscribers. I appreciate all you guys viewing right now. And as soon as we do hear an announcement, I'll jump on here and we'll talk about it. But until then, have a great one. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys on the next video. I'm out.